Hey everyone, EDC back again. Do you like Star Wars? Well, guess what? That is what I'm talking about today. Star Wars Dark Forces. Hey, EDC, didn't you already make a video about this game? Wait, how the hell do you know that? Nobody knows about my older content! The reason I'm here again is because that video is extremely outdated. It was at a time where I still didn't know what I wanted to do with this channel. Heck, it wasn't even focused on first-person shooters at the time. It really felt like anything was on the table. Heck, I almost did food reviews. Thank fucking God I never did that. I also had lackluster editing skills since I was still trying to teach myself that too. I was very new to the FPS scene as well as learning about old video games. I probably got a lot of stuff wrong in that video because I just didn't know what I was talking about. That and I haven't watched it since I last uploaded it, which was like 3 or 4 years ago. I'm really scared to go back to it. Let's just pretend like that video doesn't exist and just start fresh. I am a huge Star Wars fan. Well, I used to be anyways. It feels so milked out by Disney and kind of lost that charm and creativity that made it special. Now it just feels so dry, repetitive, laughably bad, run-of-the-mill, and even more laughably bad. Okay, no, seriously, fuck the Book of Boba Fett. This show fucking blows! Ahsoka was recently announced, and honestly, I just don't care. Star Wars fans on YouTube are probably gonna overanalyze the fuck out of it for no reason like they do with every new Star Wars media. Andor was the show that got me back into Star Wars, though that's just because it didn't feel like Star Wars. For me, it was a huge breath of fresh air to just see something different. If you haven't watched Andor yet, I highly recommend it. I would say it's actually 10 times better than The Mandalorian. Yes, I will die on this hill. So why am I talking about Dark Forces? Well, everything I mentioned about Star Wars wasn't always like this. There is a reason that Star Wars got as popular as it did, because it used to have some of the best stories ever told. That is kind of how I view Dark Forces, a time when Star Wars felt like there was a universe with thousands of incredible stories. But what about the development of Dark Forces? The first-person shooter genre around this time was still very popular and a new concept to most gamers. 3 years ago from Dark Forces' release date, Wolfenstein 3D was released to the world, the game that gave birth to the genre as we know it. They weren't even called FPS games at the time, they were just called Doom clones because, to the common eye, they play and they look like Doom, so it must be Doom. Which, really isn't true. Like at all. But history is history. The idea of Dark Forces started out with games like Wolfenstein 3D and Doom. Some people say it was mods for Doom where you play on the Death Star that gave the devs the inspiration. That is somewhat true, however it's also dated further back than that. As Darren Stinnett, a programmer and project leader of the game, said in an article on Electronic Gaming Monthly number 85, "Our original idea came from Wolfenstein 3D and later Doom. The whole genre cried out for Star Wars. This was evident in the add-on levels people made for Doom that put you in the Death Star. The idea grew from that." One of the concepts for the game was that you would play as Luke Skywalker, which is a pretty cool idea on paper. Further examining it though, you would have to consider canonicity and how it would fit into the overall story of Star Wars. It just wasn't really working out. So the team came up with a new character called Katarn, a Han Solo-like smuggler who is an ex-Imperial stormtrooper. We aren't a Jedi in this game. Yet. The engine used for Dark Forces is an odd one. The Jedi engine is similar to the Build engine where it's not a true 3D game engine, but it supports 3D environments. Unlike the Build engine, there is nowhere near as much interactivity like in Duke Nukem 3D.
Damn, I'm looking good.
Dark Forces does try this at moments though. What was groundbreaking about this game was that it allowed you to look up, down, crouch, and even jump. Now, it wasn't the first game to do this, but it was still pretty innovative stuff for the time. Though the Jedi engine had a very short lifespan before being completely ditched by developers. The only other game that uses this engine was Outlaws, an FPS game that was set in the Wild West. Truth be told, I've never actually played it. Maybe Darth Vader makes a cameo at the ending or something.
Yo dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could join it or something.
This game was also surprisingly ported to the PlayStation. I haven't played it for myself, but I've heard some not so good things about it. I'm using the Force engine for this, a source port for Dark Forces that was recently released. This is the definitive and ideal way to play Dark Forces now. You can change your FOV, graphics, brightness, controls, HUD size, crosshair color, etc. So, yeah, it's a pretty solid source port and it makes life a whole lot easier, especially for this video. The opening crawl covers some basic points, the Death Star, what it can do, and who Kyle Katarn is. To summarize, we are stealing the Death Star plans. And these games aren't canon anymore. Thanks, Rogue One. Oh my god, that's the save I made all those years ago for my first Dark Forces video. I'm surprised it's still here. Why did I play on easy for this mission? We're gonna be starting completely fresh. New game on hard. So the first mission, as stated in the opening crawl, is about stealing the Death Star plans, connecting A New Hope seamlessly. The reason I chose hard for the difficulty is because Dark Forces is ridiculously easy. The only times I died in this game was mostly from me being an idiot or that one level.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
There's a life system like in Wolfenstein 3D. Once you lose all your lives, it's game over. But the Force engine allows you to save the game and come back to it later. This is a godsend. Thank you. In the original, you had to beat the level in one go. There was no saving. Though I'm not going to be really using it for this review, only for when I couldn't finish the level in one sitting or if I had to. The first enemies that we meet in the game are Imperial Stormtroopers, officers, and commandos. They aren't really an issue in the game and are usually pushovers. The first two weapons that we get are the Blaster Pistol and the E11 Blaster Rifle. These are what you'll be using most of the time since Imperial Troopers drop this ammo type. The pistol is surprisingly not as useless as one may think. It only takes away one bullet and it's really accurate with its shots. While the E11 Blaster is used for more than one enemy up close and takes away 2 bullets. Never really noticed that until recently. You get a crap ton of ammo for these guns, so that's probably why I didn't notice. You can also use your fist in this game. Okay, moving on. This first mission was one of the more easier levels. It's small and has a memorable layout. All you need to do is steal the plans and get out of there. No problem.
Kyle delivers the plans to the Rebel Alliance. Soon afterwards, the Death Star is destroyed.
And just like that, A New Hope is already over. That was one fast time jump. Dark Forces use cutscenes for its storytelling. They usually play after a mission and the graphics for them look amazing. For 1995 anyways. The main plot of Dark Forces is that you have to stop the production of a new stormtrooper called the Dark Trooper.
A new stormtrooper that can take out a rebel base that quickly? I should have kept working for the Empire.
Yeah, they come back in The Mandalorian and they show off Luke so they could get those nerd reactions. In the next level, we see what these Dark Troopers can do, wiping out an entire rebel outpost, and I can confirm that these guys are fucking dead. They are scattered throughout the whole goddamn map. I know these guys sure as hell didn't do it. They can't hit for shit. I guess it is pretty lore accurate since stormtroopers in Star Wars media have to be a bunch of idiots who can't hit anything. That's probably why this game is so easy, actually.
This is TAC base to anybody out there. Please, we're under Imperial attack.
Wait a minute, is that just that one scene of Admiral Akbar in Return of the Jedi? The third mission is a sewer level. It's not too hard, it can be a bit confusing where to go, but that slide was kinda cool. The environment looks kinda ugly, and we do see some new enemies like those drones from the movies and Dianogas that block your path. I don't know, it's not really my thing. We're tasked with finding Moff Rebus, who is a weapons engineer for the Empire, who, I guess is just chilling? Like, bro, what are you doing down here? The thermal detonators in this game are, how should I put it? Here, let me just show you gameplay. They're fucking terrible! I remember liking these grenades back on my first playthrough, but I also have to keep in mind that I didn't play games like Duke Nukem 3D or Blood at the time. Blood's dynamite alone is on another level. Why thermal detonators aren't good is because you throw it at a weird upwards angle and you don't know how far it's going to go. For example, like in Blood, when you hold down mouse 1, there's like this little red line thing and it tells you how far your dynamite's going to throw. In Dark Forces, it's kinda just guessing. I only used them in dire or desperate situations. Okay, so that's actually my first death of the game, and it's also an introduction to one of the most annoying enemies. Yes, these odd, non-textured polygon turrets can take away a huge chunk of your health like nothing. You can even see in the gameplay that I let my guard down too much due to those earlier levels. Oh well, I guess it's kinda cool that these turrets are in 3D. There are objectives that you have to follow in Dark Forces, which was kinda new for an FPS at the time. In this mission, we have to find, samples of the metal being used for the Dark Troopers. Wow, that's exciting stuff. Most of these mission objectives are pretty mundane tasks. We sabotage the Empire's war effort in these small skirmishes. Basically 94% of Star Wars Rebels, except they didn't extend it to 4 goddamn seasons to the point where every episode was a drag to get through. At least this puzzle was alright. These parts of the game somewhat remind me of Marathon's puzzles, leagues before games like Half-Life came out. Though personally, I prefer Marathon's puzzles over Dark Forces, but it's still kinda cool though.
I found some interesting looking metal. I think this may offer some important clues.
That's all we need. Let's get out of here. I'm getting nervous.
Oh my god, do you seriously want me to walk all the way back? Yes. You have to backtrack the whole level. The mission couldn't just end there. Groman's Mines is where the Dark Troopers are being made, and our mission objective is to blow it up. This place kind of looks like Mars. I don't know why, but I feel like the Doom guy or the BJ Blazkowicz of Star Wars right now. Rip and tear these Imperial scum! In Dark Forces, there are completely unique and new weapons, like the Imperial Repeater Gun or the Duran Fusion Cutter. They kind of just exist. The Repeater serves a similar role as the Blaster, except the projectiles feel a bit slower and fires 3 projectiles as an alternate. The Cutter is a portable mining tool that has 4 barrels to it, shooting from one of each barrel or all at the same time for its alternate. Design-wise, I'll be honest, they're pretty unique, something I haven't seen in Star Wars before. I don't know why, but I just love the design of this cutter. I don't know why, I just love it. Though as a whole, they don't really spice up gameplay. I can only think of a handful of times where I actually used them. Despite the level design being really confusing at times, this part of the level was awesome, waiting for the doors to open at the right time so you can run right through it. It's an interesting pacing choice for its time, but why are these guys just chilling in here? I don't know, don't think about it. Oh yeah, we finally encounter a Dark Trooper. I forgot to mention that. Oh my god, it's Five Nights at Freddy's! That was actually just a Phase 1 version of the Dark Trooper, showing them to be machines instead of humans. This one is nothing to worry about, they just melee only. How many people did I just fucking kill?
Katarn will never come near this ship. My new hire will see to that.
Holy shit, it's Boba Fett, and we don't get to see him for like another 6 levels! Now we have to save that one guy who got captured in that cutscene, and this is... okay. Laser beams can bounce off of walls and shields. Pretty innovative stuff when the game came out. Be careful of doing this though. Landmines. They're terrible. Before you can even tell one is there, a huge chunk of your health is already gone. Using these landmines are butt fucking useless. You will never put these things down unless you have no other option, but like, why would you? Not too bad of a level. There were these code symbol terminals that aren't introduced to you. The only way of knowing these codes is by going into your inventory, which probably took me longer than I care to admit. Some more unique pacing through these elevator shafts. Wait a minute, I can run out of batteries in this game? Yeah, have fun wandering around in the dark while shooting your blaster as a light source. Some things that we learned about Ron Mork is that he was a war hero and soldier in the Clone Wars. Okay, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking of this Clone Wars, but you have to keep in mind the prequels didn't even come out yet. A lot of people didn't really know what that throwaway line was in A New Hope. Not even George Lucas knew. Looking at what people thought it might have been at the time is really strange and odd nowadays, especially since no one was even close in their predictions. Ron Mork was also opposed to the Death Star? Huh, I wonder why. The next mission is so painfully average. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't that good either. It just kind of exists. The power-up that doubles your fire rate is pretty awesome though. Oh boy, an ice planet. Oh my god, my eye! There we go, much better. The ice can be annoying due to sliding all over the place and, oh yeah, this platforming. It did have some interesting moments, like running through these conveyor belts was pretty neat. Wait, there's a gas mask in this game? That was a glaring issue with Dark Forces. It sometimes introduces a new mechanic for virtually no reason. The only time you use this gas mask is on this mission, and I've actually done it before without it, so like, what's the point of it? Most of this info was in the manual that you had to read, and stuff like that can hurt the game nowadays. It's not hard to find or anything, but like, who the hell wants to do that? I can't read. Oh shit, it's a Phase 2 Dark Trooper. Alright, let's see what all the fuss is about. Damn, that wasn't that hard. The design for the Phase 2 Dark Trooper is really 90s. They look more like the Brotherhood of Steel than something out of Star Wars, but I don't care, I love it. Vertical City, it's a pretty tricky level, but that's mainly due to the fact that you fight bounty hunters. We got Gammarine Guards, grannies that can throw detonators better than I can. Oh yeah, and there's Transdosans. You know, these guys. Whoever made these enemies, fuck you. Transdosans are basically the closest thing to the Archviles in this game, except they just don't revive dead enemies. They use this weapon called the Concussion Rifle. It's a fine long-range weapon that can hit scan enemies, just not fine when it's being used on you. Low design's a bit confusing here and there and feels cheap. These guys drop ammo for the other blasters, so you'll most be using those weapons. But you know what? This is probably as bad as the game gets. I'm sure that the next level will be good and a much better improvement compared to this one. Nah man, it sucks. Whoever at LucasArts made this level, go fuck yourself. This is the worst level in the whole game. Katarn gets captured by Pizza the Hut himself.
Crust first.
And he has to escape the ship. Okay. Interesting concept and variety in the game. If the level wasn't bad, it starts out with being thrown to a pit with kill dragons that you have to punch to death. And yes, you have to kill all of them in this area in order to progress. Believe me, I tried to get through the level without doing it, and I'm pretty sure it's scripted or something. After you kill all of them, the weapon that you get is, are you fucking kidding me? These areas are poorly designed and unbalanced. Even when you get all your stuff back, the level is still challenging. There are mines everywhere in this fucking level, on the ground, behind doors, and even in the items. You can't use your guns to take them out. No, that would be too easy. You need an explosive for them. Have fun minesweeping in this mission. You only fight these guys since there's no Imperials here. Well, at least I can unload on these Kell Dragons to relieve my anger from earlier. Yeah, this mission is bad. It was the only time in the game where I lost all of my lives. 3 times to be specific. Whatever, I found Jan Auras, I'm done. Well, Imperial City isn't too bad. It's Stormtroopers in the Empire again. Thank God. Even in this big-ass arena, the Stormtroopers still can't hit shit. Like, come on, guys. Since I mentioned the word arena, that brings up the question. Is Dark Forces an arena shooter? No. Actman, are you taking notes? There were some good moments in this level. Going down this elevator with more Stormtroopers popping up, killing more Dark Troopers like it's nothing, this cute puzzle with the vent, and then this awesome puzzle where you have to find out which doors will lead you to the correct path. On paper, this sounds like it wouldn't really be fun, but executed pretty well that didn't feel frustrating to me. Then again, maybe that is because I knew what I was doing and I've played the game before, but it was still a great feeling running through these hallways and seeing a new enemy behind the next door.
Oh no! Kai, you better look out, I just saw...
Of course, I have to run all the way back to the beginning, and yes, for those wondering, we do fight Boba Fett himself. Oh shit, this boss fight's gonna be awesome! That was it?! Quick, kill him before Disney makes a book of Boba Fett! Okay, but nah, seriously, how is this guy still alive right now? These next few levels seem to be my favorite in the game. I don't know if it's because Jabba Sip left such a bad taste in my mouth, or just anything is better than that level. I like how there are explosive barrels everywhere. The explosions can get crazy. Still some cheap moments here and there, but still an alright mission. Also, this area of the map is a cool idea with a rotating platform, if I didn't spend most of the level on it. Not because it's confusing or poorly designed, but because it's really, really slow. Oh, god damn it! I did like the level overall. Despite that walkway, it actually wasn't that much of an issue for me. It's mainly just a minor nitpick. Boarding the Executor looks like that one opening scene from A New Hope. It's not the same ship, but it looks kinda cool. The soundtrack for the game is... well, it sounds like Star Wars. If you've heard Star Wars music, you know it's good. Composed by Clint Bajakian, he's been active in the industry since 1991. He used to do a lot of sound mixing and music for Star Wars before Disney bought it. Some of the tracks are from the movies and others are completely new. Not the best score for Star Wars I've ever heard, but I do think it gets the job done. There's also this one gun called the Assault Cannon. It's the last weapon we get, and it packs a punch. It does a ton of damage, and even has a missile attachment. That's what the slot on your HUD is for. More mechanics that only get used once. The design reminds me of the fuel rod cannon from Halo for some reason. It looks kinda similar. It comes from the Dark Troopers, and it is really effective against them. The level is not surprisingly pretty easy. I did find the platforming here to be somewhat annoying. It isn't that good. Getting this ship container to an airlock looked really cool for its time, and one of the highlights of the level in my opinion. It seemed like they really liked showing this off in interviews.
We can see it sitting out there. We have to rotate it around first by hitting this switch. And that will rotate it, getting it ready to move over to the airlock. The airlock is straight ahead of us right over there. So if I hit this switch over here, we'll see the cargo container move over there to the airlock, and once it gets over there, then I can run down the stairs, jump in the cargo container, hit a switch, and then we can go to the other ship we're trying to get to, because this container will be sent over to another ship. And so
the last mission of Dark Forces is us boarding the Arc Hammer, the facility ship that is making the Dark Troopers themselves. They added more Dark Troopers on this mission, and it's more difficult than usual. Oh yeah, that looks good. Ron Mork is even here.
Katarn will never come near this ship.
And he's in Dark Trooper Phase 3 armor. It's even more powerful and stronger than the other phases that we fought.
Katarn will never come near this ship.
Katarn flies away and... oh boy. Vader somewhat gets mad. I guess he just forgot and stopped caring about Katarn after this. Mon Mothma gives us a medal with no dialogue, and that's it. Yeah, it just ends. Dark Forces is... okay. It had odd choices in some areas, but it's not bad. Despite some of my comments and thoughts in the game, I think this feels like a Star Wars game by the fans. George Lucas had nothing to do with this game. In fact, he didn't even like it that much, but over time, he somewhat grew to the idea of Dark Forces. Dark Forces has that special feeling Star Wars used to give me, before the dark times. Looking back, I'm kind of okay this game isn't canon anymore since, I'll be honest, it's a little bit whack. Katarn can punch a Kell Dragon to death, yet he can't throw a grenade right. But then again, this is mostly better than whatever Disney's put out in the last decade. I can actually feel the love and passion for this IP in this game. I can't really say the same for Disney. Heck, you know they even made live action figures too? Okay, well just a Dark Trooper and Katarn, but hey, that's still pretty cool. The Dark Trooper looks pretty good in my opinion, and Katarn... what the fuck? That's him from the other games. Why'd they paint over him? So will I talk about the other games in the Jedi Knight series and the ones done by... Raven? I don't know, I'm a pretty lazy guy. I can barely release these videos. Speaking of which, how do I even end this one? I don't know, here's Escalation speaking German.
Guten Abend, meine Damen und Herren. Ich möchte Sie darauf hinweisen, dass EDC keinen Anus hat.
I don't know what the fuck you just said, but thank you.